And we're back after a brief break. I got a Foster's can out of Steve's fridge that he may or may not let me drink during the third segment of the show.
I probably won't, but maybe.
Steve, have pity on a poor soul. I bring you this beer every week. I just need that Foster's.
Now, if only you bought me beer and chicken and corn, then maybe we could
That
have
Foster's
some sort of deal.
That Foster's can
is all corn.
No,
that's
that-
like my bath salts.
Look.
I will eat
I have
Charlie's
to
face.
I have to
I will
turn-
eat,
I have to
I
turn
will
it.
eat Charlie's face after I drink it.
The that can of Foster's and those cans of Jenny's, I earned those on Easter Sunday.
Yes.
All right, I looked very hard.
Easter
I looked very hard for like 3
The
of those
world's
cans.
worst beers. Yes.
Alex was like, "Oh, these beers are great," and I was like, "Thanks."
Hey, these are New York beers, man.
I know. Thank you,
All right.
I spilled it on myself, not your floor, goddammit.
Matt. You are ejected from my house.
Are we back in action?
So,
now?
Charlie, did you pre-order your Wii U despite
Did
not
you
knowing
welcome
if it's
us
between
back yet?
$300 and $600?
$300, $600? Oh, they haven't.
No,
No
there's not going to be a
price.
price till fucking September, dude.
Okay, so let me just say up front, I'm probably not gonna buy a Wii U.
Are you too
Probably.
old for?
Yeah, I might be too old for it. But like if I got a crazy stupid job where I could just throw money around, yeah, totally buy it.
So just so I'm clear, is that the thing that it's not that you hate consoles? It's just that you don't consider it to be a good use of money.
Of being an adult, yes. I don't think that like remember, here's an important fact about me and my house. We do not have a television at all. We have large computer monitors that we stare at, and we watch television via the internet when we deem it necessary because conversation has drugged to a halt. So
I don't
you talk
hey,
to Rachel?
Technically, I don't own a computer monitor. I just own a large TV I have my computer plugged into.
there you go. For example,
Just by the way, keep that in mind. And the next time you need to make a purchase, there's no like
I'm just saying
there's no
that-
latency quality issues that the TV might not be able to handle StarCraft.
what I'm saying though is that I don't. It's not like we have a room built around a television. We don't spend a lot of time watching television, so that factor kind of cuts down my interest in consoles off the table. Like I'd probably if we had a TV, I'd probably be playing fucking my completely still wrapped copy of Final Fantasy X I have.
And your new copy of Baldur's Gate 2, right?
That wasn't new, man.
It looked new.
did
in
you
the
buy that,
picture.
by the
It
way?
looked like it was.
No,
Why not?
I was at a good.
Tell
Internet?
the audience.
I was at the Goodwill, and I saw in the case where they sell all their camera lenses and all that other BS. Actually, there was a big dish of Game Boy games. There was a boxed, looked like a collector's edition
It was
of Baldur's Gate
monstrous,
2
yeah.
in there.
It looked like it was shrink wrap. That's
It
why
looked
I said
precious.
it was new.
They also had a complete VHS copy of the entire Evangelion.
Wow.
You know those tapes were like
$30 each.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I was half tempted to be like, "Yo, you should get these for Mo," but there you go.
Sometimes you got.
When you said VHS, I thought of that. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to do something to get your meth habit. You know, Evangelion.
I think more than likely some nerd finally lost that bet with his wife. He was like, "Hey, honey," and she's like, "Well, if you get rid of those VHS tapes," and he's like, "Okay."
Okay.
So
or died of dysentery sitting in their own filth playing World
you know,
of Warcraft.
I just want
and
to
their mom had
illustrate
give
for
them
like
away.
the severalth time
Or he got upset
our
because they keep
incredible
changing it.
disinterest in E3.
Everybody who has an interest in video games is not interested in E3 because E3 was very, very much not about video games this year.
Yeah.
Except for the big old titties flopping around in the Far Cry. Is that Far Cry?
Tiggle bitties. Yup.
All right, you crazy. So
Totally looked like I thought it was Turok.
Yeah.
the Wii U, the money for the true spirit. Now, this is what the thing is. With that said, that I have no intention of buying a Wii U. The phrase Pikmin 3, big smile and a thumbs up.
Rachel bought a Wii U. That's why Charlie doesn't need to buy one. is
Yeah, you're gonna have to
because
buy
Rachel's
one for your
gonna buy
lady
one.
to get into the Pikmin 3. She'll come out of video game retirement for that.
Oh man, that game is so good. I love that game so much, and I love the style of it.
Rock
I love
Pikmin.
the whole thing.
Rock Pikmin.
They're awesome.
When he pulled the Pikmin out of his pocket.
I have an anime gif of that.
Oh, thank God.
So, yeah, Miyamoto, and they didn't dick around with this, which is cool. They brought out Miyamoto, and he was like, "Yo, Pikmin," and everyone was like, "Yeah!" They just did the fist pump, and it was cool. And that was about it. And I think that was all I needed to know. I know that Blizzard is releasing some arcade feature for something, and that's it. That's all I got. As far as that, I don't know what the other Nintendo products are. They, like you said, you told me in the car right over. There's there's continued plans to make their new Super Mario Brothers for the.
So there's
DS.
two new Super Mario Brothers. There's
new Super Mario.
The new
Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers 2, which is for the 3DS, which is a sequel to the DS game, and the
which
only
sold
thing that was
enough
said about it
to settle the world's debts.
Yes,
that game was really popular.
I love that game. I have played through that game. If you were to turn on my DS, I have 3 100% saves. I played through that game and 100%ed it 3 times. That's how much I love that game.
That's a good game.
So there's there's a game that's a direct sequel to that, which all the guy who introduced it said was, it's all about gold coins. There are gold coins all over the place. Gold, gold, gold. It comes out in August. And I was like, that didn't tell me a lot.
And then you saw some footage.
But that thing is kind of cheap now. And August is the month of my birth. So maybe I could buy a 3DS and that game as a birthday gift to myself.
But some of the features that they did show in the little trailer, a gold Mario, you turn to gold. A brickhead Mario where coins come out of your head when you jump.
Nice.
I didn't see the Tanuki suit, but I did see the tail, the raccoon tail.
I do know that
cheers.
in the one for the Wii U, which is called New Super Mario Brothers Wii U,
Right.
because
God,
they want to be very clear on the brands.
Right.
So I might as well just say that there have been 4.
Well, they can't confuse Grandma. Grandma comes in and goes, "He's got the game station."
The only problem becomes
No, that's an ad network on YouTube.
He's got the play box.
the only thing that I will forgive them for is the only time this will be a problem is if any one device has a new Super Mario Brothers sequel on it, because right now there will be 4 games and they're all for 4 different fucking things. So it's like, yo, that one for the Wii, the one for the DS, the one for the 3DS, the one for the Wii U. In fact, I'm not going to say the phrase New Super Mario Brothers. I'm just going to say that Mario Brothers.
Yo, that game where you hit the blocks.
Yeah, that one for the Wii U.
Mario game, yeah.
That one when he hit
They realized that people just refer to him as the Mario game. You going to play the Mario game? Yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah.
Remember
new
the old
Mario
Mario
game?
game? Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah,
Too.
so
I heard, I was walking down the hall, quick Nintendo anecdote. I was walking down the hall, I worked at an art center, and there several children take music lessons there, and there was one of the teachers. I knew he was alone in the room because I just passed where the music studios were, and he was probably practicing for the next student, and he was playing the Super Mario Brothers world music, not the Super Mario Brothers you hear all the time.
Yeah.
The extremely awesome music from Super Mario Brothers World as featured on the Super Nintendo. And he was burning it down. And I was half tempted to go in there and be like, dude, you are rocking the shit out of that. But I also know that, like, either the dude would have been like, thank you, I love Super Mario Brothers.
Or he would have been like,
Koji Kondo is an inspiration. Or he'll be like, yeah, I gotta learn this for the kids. I wanted to be Rachmaninoff, and then cry, I didn't know. I didn't know what to say, but he was burning it down, and I was like, way to go, homie. Because
you really brought me
and
down there.
You know what I'm gonna say? You know what? He didn't bring me down, because if he turned around and was like, I wish it was Rachmaninoff, at least he was still burning it down.
Yeah, that's true.
At least he was playing it with some feeling.
So in the one for in the Mario Brothers game for the Wii U, when he hit the block, it was an acorn, and the acorn rolled off the edge, and then he became the raccoon.
Yep.
Sounds good.
It was pretty good, and they had all these baby Yoshis that were blowing bubbles, and it's
What
like
about
even
the one that turned into the balloon?
Yeah,
they
to
were
even
floating
to
around.
even acquire a baby Yoshi is like a massive hassle. Like I'm not even sure what the benefit
You
is.
have to put Tetris blocks together and then eventually like go and.
I
go
didn't.
in.
I didn't
know
know.
I
that
think
was
you had
it,
to. I think you had to turn your Kinect on.
I know Luigi's Mansion was also announced, so Luigi's getting.
Well,
No,
that
but-
wasn't announced because that was announced last year.
And that's the same thing I said to Matt. I was like,
Well, it was
during,
continued the conversation.
yeah, they were like, oh, that's right, we announced this game, but we announced it way early,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked just the same. In fact, I think it was just the same footage,
Yeah, why not?
like exactly the same. So,
But
Batman
so-
Armored Edition. They
Yeah.
talked a little bit about that. They talked that up and down.
that looked really good.
I think that's the interface seller. As far as what I've seen of the new stuff that isn't obviously a Nintendo product, obviously Nintendo's going to do crazy Nintendo shit with this.
I did
thing.
say to Matt, talking about Batman is the pivot from Pikmin directly into third party stuff. I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah.
Like if they can keep that up, they may have something on their hands.
You know, I think third party are willing to look at it because remember the bar from transferring their products from this because even the new games
Yeah, they
that
can
come
trot out
are
all the
still
old games to this. Yeah,
old games. Like Batman will be almost a year old when it comes out.
I mean, Batman
But
is
one
a year
one thing
old.
I will tell you is that because all of the predictions about
Batman is an excellent product for that system, though.
yeah
That cuts the margin of this is a cool game that you aren't embarrassed about playing because it's Batman and everyone thinks Batman's cool, even punk rockers, and it's violent, it's dark, and it's gritty, but it's still Batman,
And
so
the
it
stuff-
isn't going to be.
and Charlie,
like,
the stuff on the tablet screen is not just ancillary stuff. Like there's hardcore game graphics of like main screen, some sort of like big view of what's going on, like mini screen, like over the shoulder, Batman's head, like Batman's view of things, and you're like hitting the stuff, and you're watching on your TV the stuff explode. Like there's like some substantial stuff going on that screen. It is not just like a mini map.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it is. They fucking brought it with that.
Right,
So
right, yeah.
And-
I'm hoping
and
they
of
have
course-
that at PAX for us to play.
And
yeah,
of
I
course,
would like to eyeball
and of course,
that.
the other thing about having Batman on the system is that does also open the door and show everyone that any Unreal game.
Yep, can go. And the thing I was going to say is that if we see a lot of great third party adoption of this, like right now when it first comes out, that could be a sign of things to come, of low expectations of what the next Xbox and next the PS4 or whatever are going to do. I was going to say the next
Yeah,
PS3.
like why would it be a PS3? Xbox 720, man.
Because the whole thing about the specs on the Wii U were like, oh, it's going to basically show, it's going to be like modern standards, like better frame rate, like nothing
Marginal
groundbreaking.
improvement on current consoles.
Yeah, but the thing is that we don't know what all we knew about the other consoles is that they're going to aim low to make the hardware affordable. So it will be a marked improvement, but you don't know how deep. You don't right now. I do not know if the next Xbox games will look as good as PC games on my video card do, because I have a higher end video card now in 2012. And those specs probably were locked down 2 years ago.
Did either of you guys see the footage for the Star Wars 1313 game?
No, I just saw the name of it.
I read a little bit about it.
I saw they had footage on what's that show with the Jeff Cahey game trailers? Is that show?
Sure.
I don't know.
Sounds
But
good.
they had footage of that game. That game looks fucking phenomenal. I was watching it and I was like, damn, I wonder what like this is. Yeah, they were showing it on PC and they were like, yeah, we're running this build, and I think they were running it on one of the new NVIDIA cards. They were like, because we got some stuff from NVIDIA, is what they said. You know the 680, I think it is. The new one that's the two cards. Well, I think that's what it was running on because it looked fucking
That's real.
awesome.
That's real responsible for showing off your product.
But that's fine because
No, it's great because it's like if you wanted to, you could take that $600 card and throw it in that $600 computer that I have on my floor right there and have like the super awesomest graphics ever. Or I could wait 6 months and throw a $300 card in there and do the same thing.
But I mean, like So is this game going to be a console game or is it going to be PC?
It is coming out on console.
Okay. Good.
So,
But it is a PC game.
But it is
well,
a
that's
PC
not
game.
that
Yeah,
irresponsible then. No.
all games are PC games.
Yeah. So ask hey, ask yourself.
I'm just going to be quiet.
We're going to say Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
But really think about this when it comes to setting consumer expectations and setting a price point. And we all know that the economy today, the economy that the next generation is planned to be released in, is so much worse than the economy the last generation was planned to be released in. And unfortunately for Sony, their console was released in an economy on the brink that turned out to not be so good for them over the console life cycle. So when it comes to being price point minded and setting consumer expectations, at what point do you have to be show a crazy game on a crazy expensive video card and let people know what could be at the expense of this is going to cost you, there's going to be a high expensive barrier to entry to get a console that does this, or you'll just perceive that we can do what you think we can do for $300. Because in the time, listeners, I really want you to know that what has happened to chips in the time since the Xbox 360's come out. A $600 NVIDIA card is capable of doing math to try to invalidate concepts in general relativity that have held for 100 years. Crack the human genome, look for life in other galaxies. The power of these chips.
Stop saying P words, by the way.
Sorry, I know about the pop screen, the lack of pop screen.
I have to get some pop filters.
But so the incredible strength of these chips, what these chips can do, what an NVIDIA 6X chipset can do, is unfathomable. Unfathomable. See, that's not a microphone problem. I can't say the word. I can't say the word.
That's a Jenny beer problem.
Fathomable. What can be done and what will be done to meet a price point are so far. There's such a gap, so disparate between the two things. You could do so much,
and for
if you wanted to pay the money.
Right.
And the thing is that the perceived desire to pay that much money is so far that even to make PC games that are capable of having that high end, they don't even do that. Because even if you're going to have a PC specific game like Diablo, are you really going to make some ultra high settings that you need a $600 card to view? No.
Only if you're Crytek.
Only if you're Crytek, and then your game is not worth playing for other.
They're making
unrelated
free-to-play
reasons.
games now, by the way.
Yeah, those games, awesome to look at, not so much to play.
So to go back to
although that's not entirely true, I should say.
To the third,
awesome to play in very short bursts because some of the gunplay was really, really good. But
so that my whole tirade there was about coming back to the third party support on Wii U is that. Because we don't know the specs of the next generation for the other guys yet, there's a really good chance that if you're EA, Ubisoft, tons of support, Assassin's Creed 3, Darksiders, the dance game that they make, their version of Wii Fit, which I forget their own fitness line. They had
those fitness games are all money in the bank.
So
one thing that, again, we totally don't give a shit about, but those fitness games sell.
Hey, that Nike Plus
Zombie
Plus game, where was that going?
Oh, I didn't know if that's Nike Plus. That could either be as dumb as a pedometer.
No, it is Nike Plus.
It is Nike Plus.
The logo that they showed on the screen was the swoosh with a plus after.
Okay, so we'll talk about that in a sec. Let's get there in a second. But and Zombie U, which is a game we haven't talked about yet, but it's basically a first person survival horror game that. See, and I was telling Charlie about this in the car way over here. It seems like the things that you're doing with the handheld screen are all the stuff about inventory management and pausing the action to manage your inventory in Resident Evil. Yeah, or also sniping, you hold the thing up and it's your scope. But
my God, if we don't get a new silent scope, why was there no silent scope? Why was Silent Scope like 6 not at the show?
So Zombie U is a really good-looking third-party game that, by the very name of it, is a Wii U exclusive.
Also, Reggie held it up to his face and turned into a zombie.
Yeah, there was like a mode where you could zombify yourself. So, Ubisoft obviously committed. Warner Brothers put a lot of time into that Batman port, and Scribblenauts. A new Scribblenauts game is coming
I'm not going
to
to reiterate what I said about Scribblenauts, but man knows.
Yeah. And then for like Wii Fit, and it talked about like where Wii Fit's going to go with this. It showed like, things you could do with the device, and it was a great like sell video because it was like a couple like doing different things to compete for like burning calories, and like the guy is a little bit ahead, and then the girl goes, "Oh wait," and she pulls out this thing,
her pedometer
that looked like a pedometer, and I said to Steve,
no, it didn't look.
Like,
it was the Pokemon pedometer.
And I said, "Oh, if that's like a Nike Plus style thing, that's actually pretty hardcore." And then she uploads her run data in, and her calorie burn shoots way up, and she's like, "You got extra reps to do." And then it shows him in the corner with the screen and the Wii Fit doing lunges while she's watching TV. And it's like that video sells when they talk about like the asynchronicity of gameplay and asynchronicity of experience. Like that right there is a great sell video to show you about how it does actually integrate all this shit into something that, once again, we talk about like things that are for other segments. Like I'm a fucking big fat ass. Like I got a Wii Fit. I hardly use it, but the thing is, Wii Fit sold a lot of units, and so hey, guess what? You got a Wii Fit, and we're taking that to the next level. Like,
but you also have a really really expensive bike that you use all the time. Well, not recently because it's been raining, but you do use. So I mean, just because you don't use your Wii Fit,
true, yeah. So the like in the chat room when we were watching the live stream, somebody said when the whole Wii Fit came up, somebody's statement was, "Ugh, just ride a bike."
Yeah,
like to just nullify the whole.
There's a level like I think that what Nintendo's explored with that product has been thoroughly successful enough. Obviously, it didn't sustain. Like the sad thing about the Wii is it totally fell off. It went. And that's because they never got they never got the infusion of software that was deemed like, yo, this is something I have to do. And like to that point, like Skyward Sword, it had a huge groundswell, but even that didn't really do what they wanted it to do.
Because when you think about
they got a reset, and this is the reset.
And that actually comes back to the same thing that I was talking about, the switch to the third party during the press conference. And the same thing happened when the Wii was trotted out. All the third party companies were like, yeah. And then
they were,
especially
they were because they were like, oh yeah, new Nintendo company, and then they realized that
as they always
do, they couldn't program for the damn. They couldn't do anything with the controller. That they could never compete with Nintendo at Nintendo.
Yeah,
the audience that was that initial audience of the Wii were drunk people at parties playing incredibly simple party games. And while that was fun, that market was not what video games were. They to that point, it was like, we make a video game, we just have a guy with big hair and he's got a sword and he's on a quest, or we got a guy, he's playing some football. Those were all insular video game experiences. And then there was this thing that was happening over here, and it was like, shit, what do we do? Okay, well, we can do this. We'll make this. And then that Carnival Games came out, and that Carnival Games sold way too well.
To be super reductive, 95% of the third-party support for the Wii was people being like, well, so light gun game?
Or mini game. It was light gun game or mini games.
Right. And because mini games were mostly light gun games.
And you have a copy
it was like
of
3% Raving Rabbits, and then 2% like lightsaber based.
You have a copy
games.
At your house of House of the Dead Overkill that I bought my wife so we could play at your house.
Yep.
So I mean,
never bought a Wii, but I bought
to go back to Metroid Prime 3. I'm not. That the other Metroid game, the Other M, might as well. It's got a really good name, Other M. I ain't never gonna
I heard that was actually kind of good.
I heard it was fucking terrible.
Oh, now that I think about it, I heard that from a Metroid fan.
All right, there you go. All right, so I love Metroid, but Metroid Prime 3, excellent game. I played the crap out of it. I don't think I beat it, but that's more on me than on the game itself. But
Was it at the ice level?
the big problem was, yeah, it was probably the ice level. I don't know, it was a boss fight. Oh, the boss fights in that game were kicking the nuts. The thing was that like no game like that could foster in that environment because it was like, okay, guys, hey, I got a new game. What'd you get? Is it a fun sports game, or are we gonna play like make cakes simultaneously, or is it all about how we're all gonna like slap our hands together and fly to the moon?
No,
it's
space
like, no,
pirates.
I'm gonna slowly, methodically play through this first-person shooter, and people went, oh, this is boring like those other video games. Let's go out and have sex, and then it just got sad.
Charlie, I feel like you just told the allegory of my entire life. So,
Done and done, Nintendo.
yeah, done and done, Nintendo.
E3.
Yeah.
Reboot.
That's a wrap.
Is there a day 3?
Yeah, it goes on.
Well, I know we're done with press conferences, so
Oh,
the rest will
yeah.
just be like reporting from the show
Well,
floor.
Nintendo has a whole bunch of extra content set up, but
Well,
yeah.
this will leak out. I mean, this is
because
kind
they
of a-
discovered the internet for the first time.
hey, they didn't announce anything on what they're doing with friend codes, and I know they're not getting rid of them. Like we can hope all we want, but they're not getting rid of them. I don't see it happening.
They could create something that's a little less bullshitty
Shitty.
as friend codes. They can make it like IDs, and then like if they just get rid of the word friend code, I'm sure they would do a lot better. So
You just need to send the MAC address of your Wii.
Oh God.
So
yeah, all press conferences for the rest of the week. Like I think it's just the people getting to actually play this stuff
yeah, they'll
that
actually
either
see
didn't
what
make
it's
it into the press conference proper or actually just playing that stuff.
So I did hear one last thing. THQ has a new president, and he's all about something, which doesn't really make it's kind of
That was
Yeah,
like
he's
a week,
one of
that
the
was like
not-
a week or so back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's an
it's
old
kinda-
Naughty Dog guy.
yeah, he's kind of conflicting of what they've kind of said what they were going to do, but we'll see what goes. With
Well,
that.
so they eliminated they used to have different like segments of the company, and one of them
Yeah.
was core games, and they've basically eliminated everything that isn't core games, and they're just going to focus on shit that makes money.
Yeah, their core game segment, like, even though they ended up
Not
in a very,
drawing
very,
tablets.
very, very bad spot with that drawing tablets gamble. Like, I could see where they're going.
Yeah.
We talked about this before, so we won't get all back into it. I could see where they were going, but they messed up. So yeah, they kind of got rid of everything else. Like we said before, the THQ segment. They also got rid of my cat. And hopefully they'll come back and everyone will play Company Heroes 2. I mean, I know I will. I know Charlie will. I don't know if Matt will.
I don't know. He's RTS curious.
We're gonna force him to buy it.
So yeah, I played. I continued to play Arkham Asylum. Arkham City, and
Whoa, wait. Record scratch. Are you talking about a non-League of Legends video game that you played on this podcast?
I know. I'll keep it brief.
I was gonna say also that game's mad old.
It's mad good. And
It
you
is
should-
mad-
you
it
should-
is
you
mad
should-
good.
You should be playing that.
Steve,
I
don't
actually
dis-
need to go
Steve,
back
don't
and finish
discourage
it.
this conversation if you ever want to have us talk about games we play that aren't League of Legends.
Right.
That is.
I mean,
actually true.
I will start talking about damage differentials.
I was
if you
actually
need me to.
I was actually going to bring this up when we were eating. That we do need to talk about something other than League of Legends.
Well, why don't you do that when we're eating and not on the podcast? So, Batman Arkham Asylum is great. Is a great game. Like, I don't think anyone can debate this. This is a
It's a good game.
like the original one is 5 stars. I'm just gonna say 5 stars.
we don't
This
give
is a
stars.
great model. Generally, consensus is 5-star game.
Okay.
This game
That
is
is one of the. It still is one of like the best games.
as beautiful as that is. The nice thing about this game is that this game really takes that game and just rolls right into it. So I think what kind of diminished the impact of this game was, of course, Skyrim had just come out, so it was very hard to compete in that environment because Skyrim was so open world focused and so unique. I mean, it was a huge achievement over Oblivion, I would say. Wouldn't you guys agree? Better than Oblivion?
I wouldn't say it was huge. It was an improvement over Oblivion.
There was also a significant amount of time between Oblivion and Skyrim. Whereas this game is, frankly, what was a year later, 2 years later?
Year and a half, maybe.
Yeah.
It was a quick turnaround.
I would say that the thing about each new game that comes out of Bethesda, like Oblivion, Fallout 3, New Vegas, Skyrim, is that the refinements in each make it seem like the previous game was that you were workshopping something. Like, it makes you even, like, when you play Skyrim and you think about, like, I played Oblivion, Fallout 3, and New Vegas. When you play Skyrim, you ask yourself, like, wait, when you released those other games, were you just, like, dicking around?
Were you messing with me?
Yeah, like, was that, because that was, like, broken, and I forgave it because it was awesome, but this isn't broken. I mean, there may be the occasional backwards dragon, but it's far less broken.
Right.
And awesome.
So,
I need to stab some dudes.
Yo, Dawnguard's coming out, dude.
I know. I'm totally psyched.
So the point being is that the coherency between Arkham Asylum and Arkham City is not that divergent. In fact, I think, I don't know if they're going to make a third game. They probably should. They might as well. Whatever. I think in the future, when people look back at these games and they play them, they're just gonna roll one into the other. It's because they are they've kept so much coherency between the games, but the second game has all those great nuances it achieves in. Like they don't torque out anything. Nothing becomes too different, but you get a bigger sandbox that isn't a dramatic open world like a Skyrim. It is actually probably only about like twice the size of Arkham Asylum, and that's not even accounting for weird nuances like going in the sewers and wherever crazy else places you can go. There's so many weird little nooks and crannies in those boards. It's very hard to really realize how much real estate is actually there. So that's really enjoyable. Like I'm just sort of like in it, and it's just like this smooth transition into this game and like playing this and like really getting a feel for the controls and seeing how they mix it up. Like they are very, one of those things that they always used to say about Valve, the difference between Valve and a lot of other game companies was that Valve knows that you don't put a gunfight after a gunfight after a gunfight. They know that at points you got to have the change up. You got to have a rest period. You have to do something slow so that when the action comes up, that feels like action. You don't get this, like, you don't get worn down.
You got to set up some turrets, get hit on by a fine lady.
Exactly. So there are some really great, there are really great.
Gordon doesn't talk.
Really great things like,
press E on a security guard.
There you go.
You go into a room and immediately you feel like, oh god, there's a boss fight. It feels like a boss fight. The room is like the boss fight room. And then there's just some like little animation that goes through because Batman's a badass and he just throws his batarang and you get out of it and you go like, oh, that's nice. I really did want to get into a fight with that guy. He's huge. That guy's a beast. I'm gonna go out this other way.
Yo, Solomon Grundy.
You do got to fight Solomon Grundy,
which was awesome.
That was a great boss fight.
Was awesome.
Oh, really? He's in that game? Spoilers.
Yeah, he's kind of thrown in, but this is the thing too. He's thrown in, but he's thrown in like everybody. That's the great thing about the game.
Good.
You want people to get thrown in that game because if you have an experience with Batman beyond like the Batman TV show, and even the Batman TV show, you're going to be disappointed. There's no King Pharaoh in it. There's no Eggman. He does not appear. It's like
Eggman
everything goes
Sonic
like
TV
south,
show?
and then like you turn corner, and it's like, oh dip, it's Ra's al Ghul. Oh dip, it's this dude. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Shut up, cat. So there's all these like great callbacks to the Batman stuff. It's just a great game. It is the example of what action games should be. It has the you can't get past an area. It's got the Metroid items that unlock stuff. It's got the seamless like adventure of Zelda. It really plays off of a lot of great stuff. And I was thinking about this like driving back from work today, and I was thinking like, okay, well, all these pieces aside, how do they get this way? And really what I think it is that they took Batman, and because Batman is such a codified thing, I mean, seriously, they've been writing stories about this dude for decades. You can take that material and say, I want to build a game from the ground up, from the concept of Batman. Not, we have some game mechanics. Let's go get a license to put on top of our game mechanics. I really feel like these people who made this game, Rocksteady, really had a passion for Batman and felt this is how we like. And Batman's a great thing to make a video game about, just like sports are a great thing to make a video game about, or a fantasy novel is. All the stuff that happens in video games relates to that. Yeah, there are crazy people that are able to make really awesome games about cooking. Cooking Mama is awesome, you know? Doing really inane tasks, gardening is awesome. And now we have Pikmin, you know, things like that. They're very outside of the box. But when you're inside of the box, there's a lot of really crappy games that come out, and they didn't make one. They made a really tight one.
Would you say they asked themselves the question, what would Batman do?
There you go. I think so.
No, they all just woke up and said, I'm Batman.
The question is...
You know what the problem is that's WWBMD.
What would be the... I look at the case, too, is like I've got... this game finished as it is. I haven't beat it yet, but I mean, like, with this game done for Rocksteady, can they go and get a third game out of this? I hope so.
I was just gonna raise that question. Do they risk the third game possibly ruining what they've built?
Well, they're outright owned by Warner Brothers right now.
Yes, and Warner Brothers did say that this game is very important to their pillar and concept, which kind of is scary because once the corporate overlord sees what's happening with the game, you know, the guys in charge at Rocksteady could lose control when the corporate overlords are like, make a third one.
What I think,
I think the question
what
is
I think the best thing they could do is
No Man's Land.
No,
that would translate really good to a video game.
Next project, completely different thing, either different IP or or original IP. Do that game.
Take time off and
third
come back.
Batman game.
That'd be great. I think
that'd be great.
That was kind of the solution.
And then third Batman game could be early enough in the next console cycle that it would exploit whatever engine comes out for the next console.
That's a good idea. And I think what Charlie was just about to say is taking the time off would benefit the studio. I hope.
Yeah,
that's
it
what
would
you're
benefit
about to
the
say.
studio because the idea is that like what I really don't want to see is like I kind of would want them to either do that third game so that they can continue using all their great juice, because what I don't want to see is someone say like, do like that Batman game, now do with Superman, because that shit ain't gonna work.
You fly through circles.
Yeah, no, like there is Batman is a very unique product. I think it's really obvious why those Batman films have really succeeded. Like, there is something about the Batman concept that really communicates well. He is James Bond-esque in my mind, where he is a really tight fiction character that has a lot of good stuff in him that general audiences can grab onto really quick, and has a core audience that is rabid. Mm-hmm. And that's great. And the idea of that character is great. If they have a strong relationship with DC or with Warner Brothers, DC is a subsidiary of Warner Brothers. That's why they can do this crap. The worst thing possible would be for them to try to force Rocksteady into making some other kind of game, because the thing is that the combat in that game is awesome because it's fun. Like it's fun, like Streets of Rage and Double Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Like I have that. Like this is a fun combat game. But this is why I feel like they built this for Batman. In the combat is Batman combat. You are flying around, smashing people, switching to gadgets. You can do all sorts of crazy combinations. That's a Batman thing. What's Superman? I crush this guy's skull and blast him with my eye beams. We're done. Fly back to my solitude.
I do not want to see
Fortress
any other
of Solitude
DC character done.
Yeah, exactly. So
Because
like,
if we think about, like, be honest, like, you guys have to admit, these two games defied the odds because superhero games are normally terrible.
right. Well, this game is
that falls back.
And this game is a good game, even if you don't know who Batman is. These two games are games you could enjoy just for games' sake.
I think the greatness of this game kind of falls back on what Charlie was just saying, is that the concept of Batman is something that's just so easy for everyone to grab onto, but it's not crazy outlandish either. So
no, it's not. It's not supernatural. It's not like sci-fi. It's not fantasy. I mean,
it's a dude in body armor.
There are aspects of his universe that are supernatural and sci-fi and fantasy. But
wait, Solomon Grundy's not real?
no, he isn't. But the Joker is.
no,
Yay.
it's in your mind.
Actually,
Who is Tyler Durden?
The Joker is. I've seen Mark Hamill.
Maybe the thing you're saying about talking about like Streets of Rage and Double Dragon and beat 'em up stuff. Like maybe one thing that would be good.
Rocksteady did Double Dragon. Crazy Double Dragon over the top beat 'em up.
What if remember when we're talking about like they should do another game and then take a break? What if they were allowed to do like a fun combat intensive like silly beat 'em up that was like a $15 or $20 downloadable game, and it was an exercise in mechanics, and it was like, hey, just make some original IP that's like a silly beat 'em up inspired by beat 'em ups of yore, and $15 and refine game mechanics with it.
That is a good path. My last take on this is that it's sort of the beauty of this product is that it's all the impetus that was presented by BioShock. I mean that's a very important feature of what I think Arkham Asylum represents of the original game, is that BioShock was a proof of concept, and they said, okay, we can make this is what a AAA title looks like. And they gave them this model, and they said it's going to have full voice, and you're going to have these high-end graphics, and there's going to be atmosphere up the ass, and you're going to have all this
picking up tapes, listening to tapes.
Yeah, there's going to be all this like
tapes.
Lots of content presented in that fashion. The way they presented that, because prior to that, I think the notion of the AAA title was still in doubt, and I think that the way BioShock presented what games are going to look like at this generation at the top tier, they took the ball and they ran with it, and they got all that stuff because they have great sense of atmosphere. That makes me feel like if they have to dip into the DC universe, they need to go away from the combat-driven action game and go way into the atmosphere game, and that way they can, again, this keeps them up at that top tier. We're going to produce a game that has high production values, has great voice acting, great character modeling, and tons of atmosphere.
I think Charlie just announced the Sandman game.
You got it. You read my mind. But I mean, that's like, that's a property that a lot of people would connect with. It is primarily about atmosphere, but you could do insane game mechanic stuff. The only problem is that it would not be a primarily action-based game. So you'd need to really have a lot of strength in there, but I think you could make a game that was at the level of an RPG. If you had all that other atmosphere stuff, you're still in your license realm of DC. The only question I have is, does Neil Gaiman probably own all the rights to that because he wasn't a dumbass? That aside, you know what?
If he probably doesn't own all the rights to death, though. Maybe you're going to get them all. So we'll just have a death game.
Yeah, goth chicks.
Goth chicks are hot.
Reaping souls. 80s goth chicks reaping souls. So,
That sounds like a downloadable 2D fighting game if I've ever heard one.
Goth chicks.
goth chicks reaping souls.
Raping souls?
No,
Yes.
I don't know what that product is. I don't know about that. That's some other country.
So,
I can confidently say I have played no. Oh wait, no, I did play some Team Fortress.
That's
I
what I
can't
was
tell
gonna
you.
say.
I can't tell you anything about it.
Did you
'cause
get
I
any
did
crates?
I did it. No, I did it while on the phone with my mother, and that game is like if the way I can jump into that game and play it while I'm on the phone with somebody is like if you were like had practiced juggling forever and you could just juggle and you would just juggle
do
or
it.
like flipping a coin, sitting in your chair and flipping a
Two-Face?
coin monotonously. Like no, just doing it up and down, like just something to pass the time, ball and cup. Like I got into Team Fortress. Played as heavy, owned. Like I was dying. I'm probably dying too much. Like hit tab. Like nah, my K to D is like 3-1. Just nope. Just mowing people down. Like yep.
Chat with your
spy.
mom.
Yep. No sound completely off. Like I don't need anything. It's like I'm a savant. It's great.
Meat spin sprays on the wall.
There's something that's so, especially with the pressure that I put on myself and like my failed attempts to play StarCraft against other human beings, where it was like in my mind the end of the world were I to lose to someone.
Yeah.
And then like getting as far as I've gotten in League of Legends, like to just know that the way that TF2 works is that like there's no definitive start and stop. You're not queued up to start and penalized for not finishing. Like
There's no ranking. There's no...
yeah, dude,
There's
guess
none of that.
You're right.
Yeah.
The linchpin of your team winning is your turret, and you gotta go. So you hit escape and hit quit, and they lose, and fucking nobody cares. Like they may be pissed at you, but in a very anonymous way. That there's no.
On the internet.
Yeah, they won't even remember you after that one time of
reported.
like what happened to our engineer. Like
That dude was a dick.
yeah,
We
so
would have totally won if that stupid engineer didn't switch to
it's
heavy and
it's so great.
die all those times.
I would definitely like to have a conversation with.
With your mom without playing Team Fortress.
No, I was gonna say with like people at Valve or people at Riot, like just have a conversation about game design around like that sort of like pop in, pop out, low pressure unrankedness versus like the
Oh, I
community-
think Riot wants to create that product.
the community
If
enfor-
there was
the
a
community
pop in, pop
enforcement
out,
of like
some
a-
sort of
I think
Riot
there
product.
is an arena 1v1 mode somewhere that
Oh.
someone is banging away at to get to
At the
kill
very least,
time
they could have-
between the games.
That
at
would
the
be
very
so
least
awesome
they
if
at the
there
very
was
least
just
they could
something
have
you
that
could-
product by if you drop out, have an intermediate bot AI take over your character. At the very least.
I would
For
I would
unranked
not-
games, for
right.
normal games,
Yeah, for
like
nor- for
what?
normals, that would
What's
be
there's
fine.
nothing
for
on
normals
the, nothing on the
no,
line.
I don't ever want to have a bot on my team in that game. It's just the way I feel about that game. I don't ever want to have
Even
an
though you
AI
know,
player on my team.
even though you know that they'll be the ultimate team player.
If they were
Oh, it's
always
13
Karthist, that would be fine. If they were if you had a bot, if you could choose the bot player, your bot sub, yeah, that'd be silly.
I
but-
guess part of the problem is you would need to have the AI for every player at that point. If they get to the point where they have AI for every player, like that should totally be in there and would totally be in there. You'd rather have a disconnect and you'd rather have
no,
a disconnect.
I'd rather that they don't disconnect. But I understand it. Like for the yeah, I don't even really want to like think about that.
It's
that
hurting
scenario.
Charlie's brain, I think.
Because the when the shit goes south in that game, it just goes south. It's just obvious. Like after a while, you will get a feel for it where you're like we played a game today. We played against people, and we started off really well in the laning phase. We were wrecking house, ripping them apart, and I knew from my experience in playing that game that it could go south.
I didn't. I was super overconfident. As soon as we got like the first 10, as our team got like the first like it was like 10-1 kills. I was like, oh, surrender at 20-minute mark. Like this is done.
You know, and for that question, I don't know why that didn't happen. Like why, like when we started to lose that game, that was well past the point where another team probably would have just quit out. So something, I think it was probably that change in the lane that gave them, when they made that switch, that was a point where the team kind of refocused. So I don't know. I don't want to talk too specific about it because no one else saw this game. But I mean, like knowing that
you guys don't
these
stream.
games can, knowing that these things can go south that quickly, that there is, that there are key moments in the game where things are going to be contentious and things are going to go bad. That is why the game has depth and is fun. Like, if that didn't happen, like, I probably wouldn't be playing it now. Like, because I experienced that enough, like, having great comebacks, the potential for a great comeback, and knowing that it's really just a matter of your team clicking is good. That's a great thing because that means that it can happen.
I totally
now,
agree.
The point is, in most cases though, that they don't click. In fact, they are the opposite of click. They were clacking, and it's just bad.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. Just before you guys got here, the game that I was playing, that somebody was like, "Yo, I'm gonna DC. Y'all have fun. I'm not coming back." That was CLG Feeding Troll was his name. That's CLG Space Feeding Troll. And I thought he was on a team because I saw CLG and I was like, "Hey, no."
No, it wasn't counter gaming logic.
Yeah, he named himself that on purpose. But after he left, we were playing for a while, and we finally got up on the. We were just playing intermediate bots, so like it took a little bit for us to refocus, and then we finally got it. And then at one point, someone on the team was like, I forget what he said. He was like, Union and something. It was like we need to go Union, and my response was, "We're going on break." So I don't think he got it. I think he was probably European because of the way he had been chatting.
You gotta. I laughed. If at any point anyone tells you that it's time to take Drake, you know what's going on. Yes, in that case, I've played games where like we've done very well, and the other person goes like, and it's inevitable that we're gonna win. I mean, it's not a contentious point at that point, and it's just a matter of like grinding down the other team because we're still not skilled enough to be able to just crush people so that they quit. I've had people go like, "I gotta go AFK, please don't report," and most people be like, "Okay, whatever, have fun," like. This is a 40-minute game, and it's going to go another 20 minutes, and we don't actually need you, because we have fucking destroyed these guys. We've warded
when you're
everything.
when you're 5-2, it's fine.
Yeah. It's like, and it was just like, like there are cases where those DCs can happen. I'm more interested in what you guys what was on the hedge of what you guys did. I mean, like. I asked you guys to challenge yourselves. How did you challenge yourselves this week?
We played a lot of people. Steve and I played.
I tried to play other champions. I think I told you guys. Was this last week or the week before? Or this week? Or I played Soraka the other day. I played Mundo. I just tried to like. Was it Mundo? It was one of the free champions.
It wasn't.
It was
Mundo wasn't.
No, it was a tank. It was a big
Pantheon.
It was Manthian.
Yeah,
yes.
with the
yeah,
and you can teleport around the screen. He's fun. He's really fun.
No, so I got in there and my challenge to myself was to actually play more.
Yeah,
because like I play occasionally, but most of the time like I'll see Matt online and I'll be like, "You want to play?" and he'll be like, "Oh no, I gotta go."
Yeah,
and I'll see you online occasionally. If you jump into League of Legends and I see it, then I'll go.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the times I don't usually play it, but I've been trying to actually just go in and play.
Yeah.
So that was my challenge to myself, and I think I did pretty
good.
But
if you played other champions, I think that's important too, because like I don't think that you should play these guys like, "Oh, dude, I am going to be the best Soraka there ever was." No, you need to play him so that you can be like, okay. When I played Soraka, these are the abilities that Soraka has when they're laning with you, so you know. And when you're playing against them, you can say, okay, yeah, this is the things I need to be aware of. I can counter build to this person because I have some experience with him, and just in general, like to just know that like the one of the things that has attracted me to this game is it is a huge mechanic sandbox. That there's so many crazy, if this happens, then that happens. This guy builds off health. This guy, is like this does this, and there's so many different unique twists on each of these characters, and that's beyond like, this one's a walking teddy bear, or this guy is this person is vampire hunter, or this person is a vampire, all this crap,
the other thing that I have done is whenever I'm playing Ash in an immediate bot game, and I should have been doing this all along. A lot of times in the intermediate bot games, nobody's jungling. As soon as I'm like,
as soon as you get to the point where you can take them.
No, as soon as if I'm going back into the lane from being back, I always go take blue. I either go take blue on my side, or I will actually go over to the other jungle, take blue over there, and just and have it. Just because nobody else is taking it.
Red's great too
Red is good, and I will
because
take it
you get that slowdown,
but...
so you get the double slowdown.
Yeah, but I always make sure that I take blue just for the.
That's the thing too, is that I found in playing when I used to play normals, blind normals, is that because no one takes jungle, they just leave the fucking neutral monsters. I'm like, dude, this is like not getting the power pills in Pac-Man.
Yes, yeah.
This is money there. There's XP, and there are these crazy buffs that are gonna make you a super monster. Why do you just leave them to die? Catching that Warwick going after our blue in that game, highlight. That is fun.
I was watching a game the other day, and this was something that actually it was last night when the odd one was playing. This was actually happening against him because he was jungling. There was like a Morgana on the opposite mid lane, and I forget who was in his mid lane, but they were playing really, really badly. And I never thought about this, but if your opposite mid lane is playing really badly and you can push them out of the lane, then you just go around and you take the jungle right up on it. Was that the 4 wraiths, and just every single time you can just push the mid out of line, run around, take them before the mid comes back.
Yeah,
and it's just like little things like that. And I was like, well, yeah, because that completely fucks the jungler. Right. Because they can't
I needed
come down.
That money. That was my rent money.
Yo, if you want to be the real bitch, you move up to that spot, you drop your smite on the large wraith, and you walk away. Because that means you took the 45 gold as the large wraith.
Yeah.
And you left the 3-4 gold sitting
because
there.
Then the large
and the large gold ain't coming back until they get killed. So they walk up in there and they're like, great, I got a hot 12 gold.
Yeah.
This is sweet. Okay, now I'll wait and go off to my next thing. And and that takes no time. I mean, like, yeah, if you're, as the game goes on, like, my favorite thing is, like, and this is kind of bad form, but I like to do it anyway, is I like to play top lane Lee Sin. Because I don't want the pressure of jungling, even though he's OP as all fuck when he jungles. But if I top lane, then after I've kind of beaten my lane or whatever, then I just go and then I start cannibalizing the jungle because he's so well built for the jungle, and I can go and eat wraiths and wolves all day. And I'm like, by the end of the game, most of the junglers don't even give a shit about them anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm gobbling them up, getting my money so I can buy my more stuff. So it's a fun thing to do. What about you, Matt? How did you challenge yourself?
So I played a bunch of different champions. I've adopted a policy I call Yordle or Feed, which is I will only play Yordles. But that's not true. I played some Caitlyn against beginner and intermediate bots. I played some Veigar, and I think might buy Veigar, although I do think he's kind of difficult and he needs to mid. And I actually, in a game I played with Steve, where they had a Veigar and any other AP champion, I was like, yeah, they're screwed because Veigar has to mid or he's garbage.
Yeah, and I think he ended up in was it our lane?
He ended up in top lane, and he ended up getting. Oh no, I actually think we lost that game because our top laners were so bad that
We had a couple games that
You gotta remember and remember early on, like things like stuns and stun, like Dutch mechanics fuck people up. Things that aren't like, yo, that dude has a lot of damage. You know, like, yeah, that's awful, but eventually people learn how to beat that.
Yeah, because if it's all just like poking and nibbling at the beginning, like a stun, yeah, makes the difference. Because the person came in to nibble you and got stunned, and now they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But so I no longer will play Tristana against the computer. I've played a ton of games against people with Tristana. I feel like I do very good. I'm learning more about the game all the time. I feel that by having played other characters and looking at builds and seeing other styles, like you said, Charlie, it does make me realize like what people have going on and what their abilities are. And it's like, oh, well, Tryndamere just burned his Endless Rage, but he didn't be. So now he's back out here with no health. Yeah. And I know he can't Endless Rage again right now, so let's go ahead and kill him.
Yeah. Or you say like, okay, now at the beginning of the team fight, let's burst the shit out of him so he doesn't even think that he needs to use it. Oh, now you're dead.
Yeah.
You know, it's when you learn when people are at their strength and when they're at their weakness, because all the champions are OP when they're at their strength, and all the champs are underpowered when they're not. You know, like, yeah, if you're trying to fight a Heimerdinger who has both of his turrets set up in front of the tower and he's standing in the middle shooting rockets at you.
Yeah, like
it's not going to happen, man. But when he's wandering around like a dumbass, boom,
there you go,
anybody can kill him.
Yeah, Steve. So I played Heimerdinger today against beginner bots, and I was 15-0 and 9.
Nice.
And he has turrets. He's like the engineer in TF2, and I feel like I've come home.
He throws wrenches.
There you go.
He's crazy.
I was gonna say it's very nice kind of after all this time, and I've been playing this game for a little bit, like not even especially after like the giant amount of time I took off from the game. Like after I played during the closed beta, I played a little bit during the open beta, and then I never played. And then like I think I played once before I moved out here to Portland. But like coming back and learning more about the game and paying more attention and picking up on what spells that the other person has burned and knowing what they have and just being able to pick up on that, that's really only something you can learn by just playing.
Yeah. There's a point when you hit that tab button and you look at them and go, okay, you got boots and pots, and you're an AP. I'm going to burst the shit out of you. All I have to do is grab you, and we're going to... Once I get my hands on you, you are a dead man, you know?
Yeah.
Things like that. Like, when you just start to envision, like, once you get just a little information, that's all it takes. It's like, it sparks your imagination. You're like, how am I going to do this? This is how I'm going to do this. Opposed to, okay, I'm clicking. All right. Oh, I get another ability now. Let's look at the tooltip. I don't know if I want that one.
I want to use that one.
That one doesn't look... Oh, first blood on me. Oh, that's not good. Okay, well, now I got more time to look at my tooltip. Oh, I got to buy something. Oh, I can't buy anything. I guess I'll get this pot. Okay. Man, I suck at this game. That is an awful feeling, but when you're playing and you can just be like, click on them and be like, okay, you got this, you got that. Yeah, I think I can get another bloodthirster.
Yeah.
You didn't buy that thorn mail. I think I can afford another bloodthirster.
Yeah, I'm not quite to the level of competency that I probably should be with the items that they're carrying. But when I see them in lane and see what they're doing, like I have been at least decent enough to pick up on most champs, kind of where they're at, and like look at their mana bar and be like, okay, well they did this kind of 10 seconds ago, so they got to be still on cooldown. You know, so if it's a pressure situation, like, you can react okay.
Yeah, and the like I said, the teamwork is OP, and Steve and I played like a bunch of games where we went,
which everyone in the chat room is like, why are you doing that?
When it's like when I'm Tristana and I'm like, yo, Ash and I are gonna bottom lane, and people are like double ranged AD carry bottom lane. That's stupid. It's like, well,
Let's see.
But we're-
Slow and attack speed. That
And then you-
sounds dumb.
and then, like,
oh wait, no, that's a great
10
idea.
minutes into the game, you hit tab, and we're both, the
Yeah.
highest of high scores.
And there are of course scenarios that would cut that down. I mean, like if you get in there with
You don't
a
see those
good
in,
Soraka and a
those
good
scenarios in
Graves.
Normal's game don't happen.
They don't happen. Yeah, but I mean, like in playing some good normals games, I've seen people who, the benefit you guys have overall is again teamwork. You can say, all right, let's hit this guy. Focus firing people works, whereas, like I said, if you two were just like two bumblers that said, yo, let's go in lane together, and not had the voice chat available.
It's too hard because you gotta
You
try and
you
type it
ran
out.
up against a Soraka and a Graves combo that's really working tightly together. You're gonna have a lot of problems because like what's gonna happen is Ashe is not gonna be able to sustain her mana, and Tristana is going to Tristana's going to have she's gonna be effective, but she's squishy, just like Ashe is.
Mhm.
And if you've got Graves who's super tanky and Soraka who's pumping health and somewhat tanky herself, she's not the tankiest of supports.
But she pumps out health.
But
and
if she's
mana
standing
like
behind a
crazy.
guy blasting away his gun, you're gonna have a problem with that case. And the overall reason why the meta is an AD and a support on bottom is so that the support can take responsibility for the lane maintenance while the AD can just CS and get kills and make himself or herself more powerful for that. Oh, sorry.
Wow, you almost knocked my ass out.
I know.
That's how strongly he feels
Super
about.
combo.
That's how strongly he feels about AD carry bot.
Yeah.
Breaker.
So like in that case, you're building for a later game that way. And if you have 2 AD carries, then you really have to communicate who's going to get the majority of that feed. I mean, like we went 8-0 and I had 8 assists and you had 8 kills. And that was great. You had a lot of money and I had a good amount of money. I was able to build some early game items that I wouldn't necessarily have had just off of assists. Now, let's say if I had taken half of those kills, you wouldn't have been able to get those like crazy items. I would have been able to get tankier earlier, but it wouldn't have benefited that much. Theoretically, the more money that goes into the AD, the better for the long game.
Mhm.
So yeah, we looked at the free champs, and I think we'll reveal that when if you tune in for the check out our feed.
The third segment, I like to call it second to last hit. You can watch us on Twitch TV at
Trademarked.
Twitch TV at
Twitch TV is trademarked. Good
Yeah.
call.
No,
// 25-cent play, 25-cent play, or
Nope.
second to last hit. Second to last hit.
No,
Second
no,
spelled
thanks to those magnificent bastards at Twitch, you can go to, which actually makes this harder, doesn't it? Twitch.tv/team/25-cent play, and you can pick from all of the streams.
Ah, excellent. Oh, so that means if we all stream the same match, it'll all go.
That's what I was trying to
consolidated,
explain to you
yes.
guys earlier before we were podcasting.
So, but for now, you'll probably watch this on. If you do watch it, you'll watch it on replay, and just look for the one. What's going to be our hashtag so that they know? Because I don't want to reveal who you're going to play yet.
If you go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/25-cent play, you can watch the second to last hits there, or you can watch on the replays on Twitch at the twitch.tv/second to last hit.
And if you want to complain about our play, please contact us at
podcast at 25centplay.com.
Also, if you want to get a beta key or almost live key for Dota 2,
Yep.
you can
hit
hit
me
us
up. Hit me
No,
up
no,
with your
no.
Steam ID.
Don't hit Matt up directly. Hit us up on Twitch. You need to follow us on Twitch or YouTube or Twitter, just one of those, and we'll check.
We're on all of them. We got a
Yeah.
Facebook group.
And follow us on
Rate
Facebook.
us on iTunes
even.
if you like the podcast.
You won't win a beta code for following us, rating us on iTunes, but Charlie will give you a hug.
I will give you a big hug.
At PAX.
Yeah, just get in contact with us, and we'll give you a Dota key, because we ain't going to do anything with it.
We need some followers.
Oh, hey, follow us, because you know what? That's what we need, and that's what we were asking for.
Also,
Hey, I will lead it. I will lead, and you will follow. That point where there was just one set of footprints, that's when I was carrying the internet.
Check us out on
Twitter. And then I rocket jumped.
See our website. We'll catch you in a moment, and we'll bring the lulls. This is not serious gameplay. Do not expect high level action.
And I will be drinking an elephant cock's worth of Fosters.
I see how little Charlie thinks of my play now.
I think of the bots, man. You're fine.
I already stopped the podcast.
It will be amazing when we have.
I'm gonna edit that. I'm gonna edit that too. So it's like no.
Ranked blind pick with champs he's never played before.
All right, so let me.
Oh, but I guess you said they're not.
I didn't tell you.
Hello, anybody on the stream? No one who is listening right now. But if you do continue to listen, to go over to our other stream. In fact, I should probably just double stream this from now on.
Double stream it, dude. What's this thing?